Welcome and great. This is a wonderful program. My name is Mario Denton. So far, we've discussed some big issues on destiny, the way forward, who you are, where you're going. But today we're going to take it further because let me explain why. You can have all the ideas in mind. You can all have smart, possible thoughts for the future. But what about your character? And so we're going to look at the heart of character. What is wrong? Where do we stand today? What else can we do about it? So please, from my side, I want to repeat before we're going to go into this. I am serious about this program, but I want you to get involved. So let me start with a verse 2 Timothy 3, verses 1 to 5, and listen to this. This is so powerful for understanding this topic about character. In the last days, it's talking about men will be lovers of themselves. Listen to that. Lovers of money, boasters, proud. Talking about disobedient to parents, talking about unthankful, unholy. Think about it, unloving, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Now you can, when you listen to this, you can ask yourself, so what is the topic, Mario? Why are you negative? What can we do about it? And today I want to share with you what is the heart of character issues. Where do we start? Now, in my research, I've done some research about Africa. Where do we stand? What are people saying about us? And listen to this, and I'm so grateful to mention it. Africa is blessed with natural resources. Africa is blessed with a rich heritage. Africa is blessed with people. Africa is blessed with a church. Africa is blessed with a covenant promise. Now, that's a great start. But listen to the rest of this research. Despite these countless blessings and riches, Africa remains undeniably the most poverty-stricken and broken continent on the planet. And I know from a research point of view, you can ask, so what's wrong? What can we do about it? Where do we start? So what are we saying? Africa is broken, Africa is suffering, Africa needs healing. And I know you're going to ask the question, Mario, what's your point? Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully. The root of the problem. Africa's problem are not only located in such things as incompetent leadership, corrupt politics, infrastructure inadequacies, widespread illiteracy, or unjust economic systems. It's much deeper. And this is why you will understand we're going to go into the deeper side of character. The root of the problem is not material. It's outside the continent. The root of a problem is inside the minds of the people. So what are we saying? It's a worldview, and it's all about culture, but then we're going to go deeper. It's about character. Because we're living in a world where people are becoming lazy, it's stubborn, we are angry and all these type of things. But I know you're going to keep, when you're listening to Mario, come on, I don't want to hear that stuff. Please, give me the solution. What can you do about it? Where do we, how can we fix it? And then again, I want to go back to 1 Peter 1, verses 15 and 16. But as you called you is holy, you also be holy in your conduct, because it is written, be holy for I am holy. What is the point? And I'm saying is somewhere we stop doing character development. It's like a perception, you do this and you need this when you're young, but as you're getting older, let's stop doing these type of things. And that to me is fundamentally wrong. Because think about yourself. Do you want to work for a place where there are a lot of skills but low character? And the answer is no. Do you want to work for a place with low skills and low character? And the answer is no. Do you want to work for a place where there's low character and high skills? And the answer is also no. So what's my point? I'm saying we need to work for a place. We need to be in an environment where you suddenly realize it's not only about the competency, it's also about the character. And I've been trained in some of the best places in the world, and one state's in Oklahoma, with an institute called the Character First Institute those days. And what these guys have told us, and what we shared, is your character plus your competency. That's going to be your consistency. Very important. Because think about the following: And if you're looking about generations, it seems to me we're spending less and less and less quality time with our children. Less and less quality time. And then they've done a brilliant research. They've interviewed and done a survey on about 8,600 students. And they asked them, listen, in the past year, were you involved in lying to your parents and lying to your teacher or even cheated on a test? And the results was extremely positive, saying yes, yes, yes. And now the point is, if this is the case, how do we fix this? And I know I'm sensitive about it, what about divorce and the impact on the family? So the question that I'm keep on asking, if we know this stuff, how do we turn around? Where do we start? What is the solution? And I want to ask you, please, this is something that I don't want you only to listen. I need facilitators. I need people who after this program said, listen, I want to get involved, Mario. Please forward me that material. Because the difference between right and wrong today, it's like, it depends. Depends on what? Well, it depends. And I'm saying, no. We need to have a worldview where we put God's character first. That is the solution. And then I know people is going to ask, but how do we do it? Where do we start? And as I explained to you, character development is a program, it's an ongoing program for each and every one of us. It doesn't matter if you're 50 years old, 45, 20 years old. Doesn't matter if you're saying, Mario, I'm 75 years old. This is something we need in the world today. If you are in business, if you are in, say, for instance, in the church, in the schools, let's start with the program where we start putting God's character first, because it's a lifelong process. It's not something that we only do it when we're young. Because what do we want to create? We want to create a healthy culture. We want to create a culture where people are reliable, where they are efficient, where they are courageous, where they are responsible, where they are honest, where they are patient. Because in my next session, I'm going to explain to you, where do we start? How do we make it happen? What are the real issues? How do we fix this? And I know, I've asked these questions a couple of times with people, if you're in a situation, what will you do? And a lot of people keep on telling Mario, in that case, it depends. And I'm saying depends on what? So very, very important. Even if I look in, and this was shocking evidence for me in terms of this research, the amount of people, if you go to school, that they're watching television versus studying at school. It's significantly more playing games, watching television versus studying and being, a wonderful student at school or at university. So we're living with an imbalance. And so what are we going to get at the end of the day? We're going to put character discipleship program back in its rightful roles. That is the answer. And I know we can help people doing these type of things. So if you look at what's wrong in Africa, I want to repeat a couple of things. Specifically, if I'm looking at the way we look at things, why are we looking sometimes that women are inferior? That's why. What is the situation when we look at work as a curse? Work is not a curse. Work is part of our dignity. Why is we've got so much tribalism? Where is it coming from? Things like, we've got a certain mindset of how do we look at the past? How do we look at the future? The way we look at corruption. People look at these type of things, well, it's okay. What is your point? The life of the individual, is it significant, yes or no? So what are we saying? And I want to just close with this beautiful statement. Africa has been evangelized, but the African mind has not been captured for Christ. I want to repeat this because this is vital. Africa has been evangelized, but the African mind has not been captured for Christ. So this is why I'm saying is you can have the best unity in terms of your team and organization. You can have the best design. But if you're going the wrong way, if you don't put God's character first, we're going to miss something. So this is a tough journey. I know it. I know it because unless we tackle the root problem. And I just want to, as we move in, I want to just give you one example, maybe another one, but let's start with the character of alertness. And for each of these character qualities, there's a biblical definition. There's an example. So let's just look at alertness. Alertness, being aware of what's taking place around me so that I can have the right responses. We've got to be aware. Now, if you ask me, Mario, give me in a verse, where is it coming from? Listen to this, Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And what we normally do, and I'm going to show you as we carry on with this program, I want you to start with these character qualities, one by one. Study it, analyze it, work through it. Because the opposite of alertness is carelessness. So if you think about 1 and 10, where do you want to be? And I'm saying, I don't want you to be on the carelessness side. I want you to be on alert, full alert, because the enemy wants to destroy us. He wants to get rid of us. And I'm saying, no ways. We're going to check our alertness. So if you're sitting there and I'm saying, Mario, this is great stuff. You ask me, how can we get involved? Please listen to this stuff. I want to take it for you. I want to be very practical. I want to demonstrate how we can apply, because I've done it in organizations. I'm showing people everywhere. So we will be right back. But in the meantime, check your alertness, because I'm going to take it further in the next session.
Do we understand these different seasons? We try our best to help people to be successful. As people move on with their lives, there is a desperate need to move on to the season of significance. In our research on managerial degeneration and self-neglect, we have found that managers easily understand the importance of strategic thinking and when to have team-building sessions with their staff, but often fail to apply those same processes in their own lives. Use your willingness and obedience now. Start your journey to be a facilitator today. When trained as a facilitator, you will have the opportunity to serve people in a very unique way. We are keen to take you through this wonderful training. Let the rest of your life be the best part of your life.
Hi, and welcome back. And I want to carry on with this wonderful discussion. In the first part, I explained to you what's wrong, and that's sometimes easy. But come on, let's fix this, Mario. What can we do? How can we get involved? And where do we start? Because character is the #1 issue in the world today. It's the issue that our people are struggling with. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to share with you a couple of ways to do it. But one of the first things I want you to do is a self-assessment. Think about it so that we can fix it, and where do we start? I've already explained to you one character principle of alertness. We need to be fully alert. But I want to go on and share with you another one. What about attentiveness? What is attentiveness? Look at the definition. Attentiveness is showing the worth of a person by giving my undivided attention. So what I'm saying is, listen, we sometimes talk to people, but are we giving our undivided attention? So let me give you an example in Hebrews 2 verses 1. We must pay the most careful attention, therefore, to what we have heard, so that we do not drift away. We're living in a world, it's easy to drift away, but what is our basis? And that's why I'm saying, yes, I started with alertness, now let's look at attentiveness. So it's all about, where do we start? What is the best way of doing it? And this is why this is not a one-day program. This is not a short session. I want you to really carry on and analyze each and every one of these character qualities. What we have done, and this is where I want to love to help you, for each of these character qualities, there's about 5 questions. So there are 49 character qualities. Today we've just lined out already 2 so far. And I want you to start off a self-assessment. I want even to go a step further. And let me share a story. I was lecturing on this topic in Nigeria, and somebody asked me, listen, Mario, I love this topic, but do you have a devotion on this? Because I want to study this. So what we have done, I explained to these guys, listen, let's put a devotion together. So all these 49 character qualities, there's something that we spend 1 character quality per week. We discuss, we debate, we fill it in, we reflect, and we ask those questions, and then we move on to the next one. So to use an example, this is antibiotics for the whole year. For those of you who are full-time in a church, please make sure this is your discipleship program. And again, if you are saying, Mario, I need some help, then I'm saying you've got the email, got the contact details. We would love to help you. Let me give you a couple of examples. Why do we need to build character? Where does it fit in? What else? Why is it so important? And it doesn't matter where you are, where you're looking, coming from. This is an ongoing process. Listen to Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. He's talking about God. Matthew 12:34. For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Do what is right and just and more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Proverbs 21 verses 3. So what are we saying? Today is the starting point for this wonderful series. I'm building on this topic of your journey defined. But I don't want you to go in a certain direction, but there's a character flaw. There's a character flaw. So what are we saying? Hey, let's get that right. That, to me, is very important. So far, I've highlighted the two character qualities like alertness and attentiveness. But let me give you another one. What about availability? We are so busy. But what about availability? And, oh, I love this definition by saying, look at your priorities, look at your wishes, but then the specific statement in Isaiah 6 verses 8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. And I want to repeat this, please, if you're listening to me today and you said, Maria, I love that verse, I want to be involved, I want to be a character champion. Please, you can do it in your business, in your schools, in your environments. This is where we need to help and to assert you and help you so that you can start talking about these type of things in the places where you are. But let's go a little bit further. And I want to use a simple example about a tree and its roots. What is the meaning of it? And listen to this. This is so powerful. No good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. And I was lecturing in a business school in a certain part of Africa. And during that day, and I want to repeat this because this is so powerful, I was lecturing on leadership, and I explained to them what is leadership. And at one stage, I used this specific example. Good people bring good things out of the good stored up in their heart. And I use exactly the same example. But during tea time, somebody approached me and said, listen, I love your story on leadership, but you were talking out of the Bible. Are you a Christian? And I asked myself, why is he asking this question? Where is it coming from? What is the point? And I said, yes, I'm a Christian. And he said, but I've listened to you while you were teaching on leadership and used this example about the roots and the fruit, and specifically the bad and the good tree. And the reason why I'm saying is, sometimes we want to fix our issues, but we need to get to the roots. And this is why I want to spend a couple of minutes about the roots, the characteristics of roots. What do you see? Because if you look at the tree, what do you see? You got to go down. You got to go deeper. Where is it coming from? And the problem that we're often doing, we're putting people on programs. This person's got low interpersonal skills. He's maybe full of anger. He's maybe, he's bitter and all that stuff. Now, you can put the person on lots of programs, but unless we are not getting to the roots, we are not fixing it. And this is why I want to ask you, keep on looking at this. Why is it? Where is it coming from? Because if you're looking at, and I want to use the me tree and the he tree. Sometimes we're full of ourselves. We're full of frustration. We're greedy, want to get rich. It's all about us. But that's full of me. So I'm always asking myself, are you full of, let's talk about your tree. What are you full? What is flowing out of your heart? But if you're looking at the other side, the he tree, it's talking about love for God, love for people, kindness and peace and wisdom and thankful and patience. So what are we saying? We're living in a world that we've got these issues, we've got these problems. And now we're asking ourselves, how do we fix this? Where do we start? Is there an alternative way? What is the best way of doing it? And I want to come back to this point. There's one way of doing it. Let's put God's character first. That's the solution. Because I've highlighted to you what's wrong in Africa. I've highlighted to you also, and you can also say, Mamari, this is similar in other parts of the world. Yes, I know that. But can we fix it by putting character first? So I want to urge you, please, on a daily basis, start having a devotion on character. Take one character quality, you and your loved one. Talk about these type of things. Analyze it. Answer the questions at the end. Reflect on these type of things. And I know, why is it so? If you carry on doing this for a whole year, I want to say something, and I know this is, you're going to ask me, Mara, where's the evidence? But based on my own research, based on this specific recommendation, if you complete this for the rest of your life, I know something is going to be different. There's no ways that you're going to be the same because you keep on reflecting on God's character qualities. Let me give you another one. I've highlighted for you alertness. I've explained to you things like attentiveness, availability, boldness. Brilliant. What is boldness? Boldness is saying confidence that what I have to say is true, right, and just. Now think about it, what you can do, and I've developed something similar for business people. Just think about the 3 words. Whatever you do is a true, right, and just. Why are we struggling? You know why? Because we are not putting God's character first. So the Bible verses in Acts 4:13, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, I love it, they were astonished and they took note that these men have been with Jesus. Brilliant. Wow, I love it. So we're talking about just this concept of boldness. Now, I want to use another example. I was visiting Uganda at one stage, and they said to me, it was election time, and the guy said to me, let's have a media conference. And the next thing they said, listen, Mario, please, this is very important. I know you're outspoken and radical and all these type of things, but do you have a message for us in Africa? Do you have a message for the government? Do you have a message that we need to convey to each and every one? And then I explained them, I used my character principle. I said, whenever you want to select a person, just keep on doing these character qualities. And I know when you use this, there's going to be a difference. But I want to start with you because I want character, not something that's outside. It's from the inside out so that we can get excited about it. So, you know, these character qualities, what have we done so far? I've just discussed alertness, attentiveness, benevolence. That's the one that I would discuss again in the future. But boldness and availability. Oh, I love it. If you're going to make a session on all this character with your children, because you can do it with your family. You can sit down, you can explain to them, why do we need to be bold? Why do we need to be available, attentive, and all these type of things? It's going to make an impact. I personally believe it's going to change the world. You are not going to be only a better neighbor, or a better citizen, or a better employee, or a better father or mother. It's the fundamental things that we need to get back in our communities, so you can play such a key role. And I know if you're sitting and listening to me on the other side and say, Mario, we need to get involved. I'm saying, I'm ready. I need facilitators so that we can take it further. So let me repeat, character and competency is going to get you your consistency. But if you don't have the one wheel or the other wheel, there's going to be problems. So my advice is, I'm asking you, get involved so that you can take the action. The ball is now in your court. It's time for action, and this topic, character and how do we put it first and where do we start, is to me something close, and I want to repeat, very close to my heart. But it's okay if it's close to my heart, but what about the rest? What about the rest of other people sitting to us and listening to us? I want to say, please get involved. So at the end of the session, you know, I want to ask you again, what did you hear? What do you think about this? What will you do? How can you implement these type of things? Because we're living in a world that people say, Mario, this is great, but I want you to implement this. I want you to get involved. I want you to start taking it further. And I want to pray specifically for you as we're closing on, that you take this serious, that you move on to the next step, that you are seriously becoming a character first champion. And my prayer is, I want you to listen to this. I pray that the Holy Spirit is going to stir in your heart, that you're going to get involved, that you're going to look at yourself, that you're going to ask also what you can do, that you're going to start with things like alertness and boldness and things like availability. Start with these type of things. And therefore, that to me is so important. You can make a difference. It doesn't matter where you are. And again, keep on praying these prayer requests. And I want to repeat it again. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? What else can you do at the end of the day? But it's also about taking character first. It's about your blessings and things that you can do. Bless other people with character. And I want to say again, and I want to repeat this here, may the Lord bless you with a spirit of putting character first. May the Lord bless you with a very clear direction. Why do you need character and how you're going to implement this? I want to bless you also. May the Lord bless you with courage and creativity and increasing faith. So my prayer is, Lord, help us in Africa that we take this serious. I want to pray for a character like a revolution, if I can use that word, that you're going to get so excited that you want to start off your families, that you want to implement it there. Because in your families, you can start doing it. You can explain to them why is it important. How do we build character? How do we praise people with character? Because often with our children, we need to reinforce character. So you can see and you can hear my heart. Let's get involved. Let's do it. Because it's not too late. Character is something that we can implement it, but it starts with you. With me, where we are in your community, in your school. If you're a pastor, start of a character discipleship like never before. Because I know this is something that can change the world. I want you to be engaged. I want you to join us. I want you to participate. I want you to reflect on the things that we've learned. God bless you.